Everybody, Rob of Feedbackwrench, and I want to walk you through our process of doing your brand scripting, your writing, and your website. Right now, it's September 12th of 2024, and we're constantly trying to work to make the most predictable process for our team of 7 to come alongside of you and to create a website that's really effective, that moves people, that actually ranks in SEO. And we know that this is difficult, and we want you to know what our process is. So real quick, I want you to know this is milestone based. We like to put a framework and a time that we want this project done, but let me walk you through what this is. Now, right off the bat, just so you know, when you work with us, the first thing that will happen after you pay us and we take your money, what we're going to do is we're going to set 2 meetings. And really what we're going to do is it's going to be our kickoff meeting, and then it's going to be what's called our brand scripting meeting. The kickoff meeting is going to be led by our team, Lexi, and our designer. And in this, we're going to go over the sitemap, what pages will be included. We want to get our nod on colors and logo and project management, expectations and everything. And then what's going to happen is throughout this website, we have 2 things. We have copywriting and messaging and your customer workshops. We really want to understand what you've learned about your customers. We want to be able to pique the curiosity of potential customers that you can solve their problem. And then when they move into this curiosity stage and they're trying to find out if you're worthy of trust, if you have a predictable process, if you have proof of results, if you actually are appealing to them, that all of those signals are clicked so that they take a step with you. I love helping position companies. We really want to help you create a steady flow of your perfect customer, and that's what we're trying to do here. And a website's a huge part. But writing and copywriting is definitely the leading indicator through this whole process. We will also have design and branding, but writing is where we're going to put together the sections, the headings, the subheadings, the curiosity piquing, the positioning things that will unlock the minds of your customers. It's almost like their mind is a lock, and we want to pick that lock with the perfect headings, questions, statements, and positioning. And so we start there. So I'm going to go through 2 things here real quick. We're going to go through design and branding and copywriting. And the only thing I need you to know is that there are a couple of milestones, they're marked in red here, that we really need you to be here. I know what it's like where you signed up, you paid for us to handle all your website writing and develop you a website. And now we ask you to fill out some forms, and then we're asking you to meet with us a bunch. Our intention is to make this as easy as possible. But I also know enough we want to make sure that we draw out of your minds everything we need to know about the customer, about the value propositions, about how you are actually positioning. And usually we're going to provide a ton of leadership through this because most customers don't have this dialed in really well. So we want to provide leadership, and this is probably worth noting right now too. There's going to be things that you want done on your website that, quite frankly, might not be what we would recommend, but we're here to serve you. And so in our values are to be trustworthy, competent, enjoyable, and rigorous. And trustworthy for us means that we always pursue your best interests, always. Trustworthy, competent, we want to be really good at what we do. Enjoyable, we want to show you love and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness through this whole thing. We want to exude, we want to be enjoyable. And then rigorous for us means that we're tightening things. We're always going, how do we make it better? How do we make it better? And one of the things is we've built hundreds of websites and setups. We know that sometimes there's stuff in your head that you want that maybe we wouldn't recommend right away, and we'll put it in there, but we would like to work through that. The goal is when we're done, there's not big surprises. We've gained agreement through the whole process that you're like, this is what I want. I'm digging it. And also we want to get the nuggets inside of you. You know your customers. So this process is complex, but writing is the most important. So I'm going to move quickly through this. All right. So in the beginning, this is the sign for my team to send you the kickoff meeting, which is usually 60 minutes. It's held by Lexi. She's the main person that will run this. We're going to go over what pages, the colors, the logos, which will feed into our design and brand. And then we just make sure we get some location, SEO stuff. We've got some questions we'll go through there. And then we're going to move into the copywriting phase. Just so you know, as we move, there are phases and these are milestones. We tend to put weeks in here, but these weeks can only be kept if your availability matches with our availability. We like to create work-life balance and yet be super available for you. My message to our team is be available for our customers to book so that we can stay on projects. But we also know that stuff changes. So our project, our ability to complete the project is going to be predicated on you either saying, yep, we'll skip this, just do it. I'm fine with that. Or we got to hold some of these milestones. As you're looking at these milestones, there's a design process on the top and a copywriting. And anything that's in this orange or red color is something that it'll be a meeting that you do. So again, kickoff meeting, brand scripting meeting. What we're going to do is we're going to dive in and do a client workshop where we really try to discover who your customer is. And here's what we're doing. What's the main problem that your customers experience? How do you work to solve that problem? And what's the experience and the benefits or the outcomes that they'll enjoy choosing you to do it and having the solution? And we're going to get into positioning. We're going to dive in and talk about the benefits that you're trying to deliver specifically compared to your competitors. We want to frame up the stakes. When you choose a low bid option, what is it that could happen? And it's not super negative, but if we don't remind them, by the way, we're going to do this, which will save you from this failure. And that's really what we're trying to do. There's a story arc here where we show them the success that we'll deliver for them. And then here's the failure we'll save you from. So again, the brand scripting is really vital in that. And that's done in week 1 along with the kickoff. But this is the initiating moment. So once we have that, our writer will go out and start working together on what we learned here to develop your brand scripting outline. Once that's completed, we come together as a team and they bring it to me and the team comes in and says, how do we make this better? That's done on week 3 on a Friday or a Thursday. And basically in the first 3 weeks, we've got our writing done. Once we've met together as a team to apply our rigorous feedback to it, then in week 4, my writer is going back and making it all better. And this can be difficult. We've got the home page, the about page, and some of you have picked a package that has significant writing for different sub-niches, for different sub-services, for locations, for specialty niches. And some of those require more rigor than others. So as we do this, we always start with the home page and then we start working through it, through the whole thing. So we'll make this better in week 4. And then in week 5, this is a meeting with you and us. So in week 5, we're going to bring you our sections. It's really just in a Google Doc or in a Word doc, and we're going to show you here's what we're thinking for our header, for our call to actions, for our benefits sections, for our stakes sections, for the guide sections. We know what we want in here, and we're going to get you, just run it by you, get your agreement. Again, we're trying to work behind the scenes and struggle hard while you just get to kind of come in and tell us where we're right and where we're wrong. Then what will happen is we make adjustments from your feedback and we begin the wireframe process. Now, alongside of this, some decisions have been made for design, which I'll cover on in just a second. But by the end of week 5, what we're doing is we're starting to build out the wireframe inside of our system. In week 6, we continue to do that. Week 7 is a big check-in where we're going to go through the wireframe, and a lot of our design has actually started to get done, and we're going to do a check-in with you. The site's not going to be finalized yet, but we're going to be pretty doggone close. So it'll be a shared staged link on Webflow, and what we'll do is we'll show you it and see where we're at, and then what's happening is we're moving into meta titles, meta descriptions, SEO, making sure the forms, the DNS, all the conversions, everything else gets tied together in week 8, and then in week 9 we launch. That's what we're trying to adhere to. Again, these are all tied to milestones. If we miss these milestones, if you're out of town, or some of you guys are like, I'm fine, we've got more time to complete this project. In fact, I'd say over half of our customers, they understand that. But this is what we're trying to do. It's really the stages. So there's kind of 9 stages. And then the last thing is client training. And then if you do ads, there's more to it. And if there's more pages, sometimes it has to go longer. But that's the copywriting. And then up here we have design and branding. So in design and branding, again, we're going to have the brand scripting meeting happen. But really off of our initial kickoff, David and Jacob will be behind the scenes and creating some ideas for graphics, for colors, for visual themes and cues and gradients and everything that we need. And then in week 3, they'll bring you their ideas and get your feedback in them. And in week 4, we make adjustments and continue to paint. I always analogize what we do. It's kind of like making a painting. We want to make sure you like the painting, show you the colors we're using, see what's going on. And then what we'll do is we will come together in week 5 to really look at what we've got, make sure that our head's nodding. By this time, we will have some really good sections to show you and whatnot, and get some agreement. Again, that's the same week that you're having an agreement with this. So it's a little bit different meeting. Sometimes what we'll do, there's a couple ways we'll gather this feedback. Sometimes we'll invite you into a Figma file, which is this tool I'm using right here, where we might come show you something. It might be that we send you an image, you make some content. Our goal is to make the feedback as clean as possible. What we don't want to have happen is you make your own PDF and it's all stitched together. There's ways to give us feedback that's much cleaner. But here we're going to gain agreement on everything. We call it a client scrum. We're really trying to make sure that that's done right. Then what happens is we start developing alongside our writing, and it's just, in week 5 and then in week 6 and week 7 and week 8, we're just developing and pulling everything together, creating your Facebook, your YouTube, your LinkedIn things, creating ads in the back end, really pulling all that together. So that's our process. Now, as you're moving, we know a couple of things. We want to be flexible. We understand. We know that your team has to come together around this. We also know that there's stakeholders. I've done enough of these to understand that in the beginning, we want to ensure that we know who's making the decisions. It can be very frustrating for both of us if we go out and create a whole website and then we get to the end and the boss says, "What is this?" Our goal is to make sure that we end this really well. So if you've got any questions, reach out to us. I'd just say, go look at our work, look at our portfolio. We've done hundreds of setups now. I have 155 plus 5-star Google reviews. We've had failures with customers. And when we fail, here's what we've learned. We haven't proactively communicated with you. We haven't gained agreement throughout the process. We've done our writing kind of on the side and then show you at the end. And that's not a win for us. We know that we want to do your homework for you so you don't get bogged down. But we also know if we don't take the temperature throughout this process, you get to the end and you're like, wow, I think I'd rather focus on this. And then you rewrite the whole thing. That's just a loss. I've seen quite a few different options. The other thing that we've learned is that we're going to build you a great website. And a great website is a small piece in a digital marketing platform. It doesn't get you front-end activity. It doesn't rank in SEO very well right away. It doesn't intersect with people that are on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And, it usually works better if you show a lot of great photos of yourself and pictures of the projects you've done. And if you put some videos in there that teach and position you as an authority, and if you can get some client testimonials and lots of reviews, there's so much that goes into a high converting website, and then getting traffic's a whole other deal. So I just bring this up to let you know that this is one part that we'll execute really well with you. And we have other parts that we want to help you with. The other beautiful thing is we try to be kind of an anti-agency in that when you're done with this, you just have your hosting costs. We'd love to write blogs for you, to run your ads, to share social media stuff. We'll come alongside and be your outsourced marketing, SEO, and content team, but you don't have to. And when we get you set up, it's on Amazon's hosting through Webflow. It's all through Webflow, and it's secure, it's fast, it doesn't boggle down. We want to help equip you to learn your tool if you want to. With every tool, here's just the last thing. With every tool, I know how to use WordPress with Elementor, WordPress with Divi, WordPress with Beaver Builder. I know how to use Squarespace and Wix, and I know how to use Webflow. I've used so many of these tools. And here's what's true. When we hand this over to you, we want to show you the way that you can use it that's easy to access. Every time you have to relearn a tool, even in week to week, like if I don't touch one tool, I come back to it, I'm like, where's that setting again? That slows me down, right? So as you learn this, there's some failures you can make if you edit your site in the designer. My suggestion is just leave the designer alone for now. It's kind of like opening up a Photoshop file that has layers, and you start messing with the layers, the whole thing blows up. The editor access, where you can do words and new blogs and new posts and new testimonials and all that, and make adjustments to photos, that's much easier. Websites are really easy to get done poorly. And once we get it set up right, we want to help you succeed. So just come to us if you've got questions. We want to be generous with how we help you. We are really happy that we get the opportunity to help you.